Hey everybody, since I'm getting such a good response from the 70s and 80s top 100 albums, the videos I've done, I thought I would switch to TV. And I watched quite a bit of TV in the 70s, uh, but I was kind of picky with what I watched. So we'll go through this list of 100 of the best TV shows from the 70s ranked, and I'll just let you know the ones I enjoyed or the ones I never saw. So, number one, M.A.SH. Yes, I was a big fan of M.A.SH, although I preferred it when McLean Stevenson was in the cast. And my favorite character was Frank Burns. But then after a few, I don't know, after the first 3 or 4 seasons, the humor I didn't appreciate the humor as much and I kind of drifted away from it. But the first few seasons are very, very funny for me. Same with All in the Family. The early years were great. And then it got a little bit too corny, I guess. But the first, I don't know how many seasons, I loved. Never really watched the Rockford Files. Just no interest in it. The Carol Burnett Show, that was very good. Lots of great comedians on there. Tim Conway, of course. Harvey Korman, Vicki Lawrence. And of course, Carol Burnett. So yeah, I watched that off and on. Same with Happy Days. It's like the earlier seasons for me were the funniest. And then around the time Fonzie kind of took over the show, he became the big star. I didn't enjoy it as much and kind of stopped watching it. But the first, I don't know, couple of seasons were excellent. Yeah, the Mary Tyler Moore Show, I would watch that occasionally, and it was very good. WKRP in Cincinnati, never really watched much. Columbo, I enjoyed that. He'd always, in almost I think every show he'd walk away and then he'd turn around. Oh, just one more thing, right? Wasn't a big fan of Taxi, the comedy. Sanford and Son, I watched that sometimes. That was funny. Never watched the Scooby-Doo show. The Muppet Show. Maybe a little bit, but if they had a certain guest star like Elton John, I might watch it. Three's Company, I didn't really. It was so popular though, but I never really watched it very much. $6 Million Man. The Brady Bunch. I used to love watching the Brady Bunch back in the very early 70s. Yeah, I guess it started in 1969. So, yeah. Little House on the Prairie. I enjoyed that show. But as almost always, the earliest seasons were the best ones. And then it would get a little bit too corny for me and I'd lose interest. Never really watched Bonanza, but it was always on. Never really watched Barney Miller or the Dukes of Hazzard. Never really watched the Bob Newhart Show. The Jeffersons I liked. That was a good, funny show. So a show like that I would watch, not constantly, but off and on. Welcome Back, Kotter. That was really popular back in the day, but I wasn't really a big fan. Starsky and Hutch, I would watch a little of that. No, never watched Schoolhouse Rock. Never watched Charlie's Angels. Laverne and Shirley, I did not really care for. I much preferred Happy Days. Oh, Wonder Woman, I never watched. The Odd Couple, a little bit maybe, but not too much. Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I mean, Robin Williams, of course, was a great comedian, but I really never really cared for the Mork and Mindy show. Never really watched The Incredible Hulk. Emergency, I think I remember watching that a little bit. It was all right. The Tom and Jerry, no, not really into cartoons. Adam 12, I used to watch a little bit. Quincy, I never really watched. Chips, I never watched. I was kind of picky, just like I am now. Hawaii 5-0, I never really watched. I Dream of Jeannie, I watched off and on a little bit. In the 60s, yeah. The Partridge Family, maybe a little bit. The Love Boat, I would watch a little bit, but didn't really like it too much, but it was always on. Get Smart, that was a great show. Yeah. Hogan's Heroes, yeah, one of my dad's favorite shows. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was funny. Alice, I never watched. The Bionic Woman. Saturday Night Live, yeah, I used to watch it. I wouldn't say all the time, but off and on. I prefer the early years, and of course, I remember seeing Sparks on. They performed two songs in 1982, and that was the very same year. Actually, 2 days later, I saw them for the first time in Toronto. Kojak, wasn't really a big fan of. Good Times, I used to enjoy that with Jimmy Walker. Yeah, but once again, it was the earlier seasons that I preferred. Fantasy Island, I never really liked. Gunsmoke, I remember my dad watching that, but yeah, it started in 1955. But it was on for many, many years. Never got into Battlestar Galactica. The Waltons, that was one show. And once again, it was the earlier seasons that I really liked. I thought it was really well done. I never watched Sesame Street much, believe it or not. But it was, a very good show for children. My Three Sons, I remember, and I used to enjoy watching that when I was a kid. Hee Haw. Nope. Kung Fu. Yeah, I remember my best friend Gary being a big fan of that TV show, but I never was. Soap, a comedy on a takeoff on like a soap opera. I never got into that. Rowan and Martin's Laughing. Yeah, that was great. Very funny. Different Strokes, I would watch sometimes. Gary Coleman, of course, was great. Benson, I never watched. The Beverly Hillbillies. Yeah. I used to enjoy that. Sometimes. I think sometimes it got annoying or whatever, but I watched a few episodes. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of One Day at a Time. Don't remember that. Super Friends. Dallas, I never watched. let's not talk about Bill Cosby. I never watched that. Never watched The Streets of San Francisco. Yeah, I used to love the regular Flintstones TV show that was always on in the afternoon. Never saw Buck Rogers. Yeah, Monty Python's Flying Circus. It used to be on PBS here in Canada. And I enjoyed watching that. I've got all of their movies. Never watched The Dean Martin Show. Night Gallery, that was good. The few episodes I did watch. Hong Kong Phooey. Never even heard of it. Beretta, I used to watch that. Yeah. Robert Blake. Yeah, The Flip Wilson Show. He was funny. Land of the Lost. I don't think I ever watched that. Eight is enough. Yeah. I guess I did watch it a little bit, but wasn't really a fan. The Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour. I used to watch that a little bit. ABC's Sunday Night Movie. McCloud with Dennis Weaver. Movie of the Week. Red Flintstone. 60 Minutes I would watch sometimes with the good old Andy Rooney. Mannix, never really watched. Here's Lucy, never really watched. Barnaby Jones, a little bit, but I preferred him in Beverly Hillbillies. Buddy Epson. Chico and the Man, yeah, it's just sad what happened with Freddie Prinze. Ironside, maybe watch that a little bit. Macmillan and Wife, never really watched. Josie and the Pussycats. No. Nope. Faulty Towers. I'm a big fan of Monty Python, but I never did watch John Cleese and Faulty Towers. Roots, that was a very good series. Yeah. Canon, not really a fan. Didn't really watch Space 1999 or Policewoman or Trapper John M.D. Not a fan of football. I used to watch hockey for years and years and years. I was a big fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs from 1972, but I kind of gave up on them. I don't know. I think sometime in the 90s after like Wendell Clark left the team and Dougie Gilmore. The Midnight Special, yeah, that's where I first saw Sparks. And they have their own YouTube channel now. And I've seen, after like almost 50 years, I finally saw the episode where Sparks performed 4 songs. And they're always posting the old shows. So I'm subscribed to that channel. SWAT I never watched. And Yogi's Gang. Oh, there's more. It goes on forever. The Mod Squad, I'd watch a little bit. Maud, I didn't really care for her character. I did not like The Facts of Life or Donnie and Marie. Yeah, 2020 with Baba Wawa. I would watch sometimes. Rhoda. The only other one that I can think of that I don't see here Oh yeah, not Mayberry RFD, but the Andy Griffith Show. I loved, the early '60s episodes. Yeah, Don Kirshner's rock concert was great. Sparks were on that too. Yeah, the only other one is if you remember, if anybody remembers, Fernwood Tonight. Uh, with Martin Mull and Fred Willard, one of my all-time favorite comedians. It was like a parody of a talk show, and uh, yeah, it was one of my favorite shows of the '70s for comedy. And I guess that's about it. So let me know what you were watching if you were around in the '70s. That is. Bye.